Kitco Mining special coverage of BMO's Global Metals, Mining and Critical Minerals is brought to you by First Majestic Silver.
Hello and welcome to Kitco Mining with me, Paul Harris, at the 2025 BMO Global Metals, Mining and Critical Minerals Conference in Hollywood in Florida. Joining me today is Tony Makuch, CEO of Discovery Silver, a company that is doing a game-changing transaction. Tony, welcome back to Kitco.
Yeah, thanks. And thanks for having us, Paul. And I say you recognize the platform you created here, and really look at a great opportunity for us to get a message across. So
well, thank you very much. That's very kind of you. And we have a lot to talk about because you're buying the Porcupine Mine, gold mine in Ontario in Canada from Newmont. This is the last mine that Newmont is divesting as part of its 6-mine divestiture program. And this is a transaction that I would say came out of left field for many observers of the space, as you've been known as a silver developer in Mexico for many, many years. Talk us through the rationale of this move.
Well, first and foremost, I mean, the one thing is when you say you're buying a mine, the other ones were single mines. This is a multiple mines. This is buying a camp. So the difference with Porcupine acquisition, we're not just buying a single mine, we're buying the Porcupine camp and the Borden mine complex. So definitely good geology in a good region with a long history of mining. But then in terms of what we were trying to do with Cordero and the project in Mexico, I think this is a very enabling exercise. You're acquiring 285,000 ounce a year gold producer with production in excess of 10 years at those levels. Lots of exploration upside, lots of ability to reduce costs and improve an opportunity in terms of value creation there. And on top of that, the valuation that we're acquiring it at is definitely very accretive to market. Right?
Now, Newmont was selling other gold mines in Ontario, the Musselwhite one, for example, but you focused on Porcupine. Did you have the option to buy Musselwhite or both of them? And if so, why did you focus on Porcupine?
Yeah, I mean, the option's always there to look at all the different assets. I mean, and they were all good assets, and you can build definitely a large company by acquiring more than one of these assets. But I think why I focus on Porcupine, maybe part of it is maybe experience we've had over the years. And first off, you look at it and say, well, number one is we can make a difference in Porcupine. I feel like if we can focus on this in here, we can take this and really create some value. And I know some people in our industry, some of the leaders or some other people run large mining companies in our industry will talk about the fact that you want to run tier one assets and that's how you create value. Well, the other part of value creation here is you take assets that are not tier one assets at this point in time and you convert them to tier one assets, and we see the opportunity to grow this and grow the production, reduce the costs here, and create an asset that has significant, to meet that tier one objective in our industry. I'm not sure the other ones would by themselves, but definitely Porcupine has that opportunity.
And of course, you, Tony, and your team have a lot of experience working and operating in the Timmins region that you can bring to bear to this asset, and as you say, perhaps convert that back to a tier one asset.
Yeah, I mean, we both from we have people like Eric Callio from an exploration point of view and mine geology, very, very, very much understanding about that, and worked at the Dome mine for years. We've got like our mineral processing, Gordon Levoy, is operated the mills which from the ground up. Myself, I've been from Timmins. We've built mines in Timmins before. I've operated. I've been the manager at the Hoyle Pond mine back in the 90s as it was being built into the mine it is today. So yeah, we do have a lot of experience in the region, and a lot of that inherent knowledge. Now sometimes that knowledge makes us makes mistakes, but because and sometimes you get a little bit too irrational in terms of your approach. But I think we have a good team and a good knowledge base that we can focus on where we believe we can create value here. And like I say, build this back into where people see this has been a prolific mining camp with over 100 years of mining history. We've demonstrated in our PEA, we've come up with like 4 million ounces of measured and indicated resources, another 11, 12 million ounces of inferred resources. We're not even talking about a lot of the other deposits, a lot of the other potential in the region. It's still, although there have been 77 million ounces of gold mined in the Porcupine camp, there's still a significant amount of gold remaining in the camp. Right?
The market responded very positively to the announcement, pushing your stock to a 52-week high. You're up more than 100% year on year. And I guess that kind of answers my next question for you, because the market tends to sort of pigeonhole companies as, you're a gold company, you're a silver company. Obviously, with this transaction, you're sort of inverting what you were to what you are now in some ways. To what extent was that a part of your decision making?
Well, I think first and foremost, I mean, we look at this, when we look about the market reaction, I think the valuation, very accretive transaction and very supportive. The support we got from Franco-Nevada, the support from Newmont, support from our other shareholders in terms of ensuring that the transaction is well priced in terms of what our acquisition costs, as well as well financed and well put together. We have a strong balance sheet that recognizing that we can execute and put the money back in, have the financial strength to invest in these assets and create value. And the way we create value in our industry is, one, through exploration, second part through investment in capital and infrastructure that supports the third part, which is being a good, responsible operator. And if we have the financial resources available to do that, it's really going to set ourselves up. And so, and I know the comment about we were the silver developer in Mexico, now you picked up gold assets in Canada, but in the end, you have two assets that like significant value creation, both potential tier one assets in either the silver space or the gold space, and as a company as a whole in the precious metal space, a tier one asset.
Now, the financing along with the transaction was done at was at 90 cents, I believe, but the stock jumped up to $1.20 very, very quickly. I think it'd be fair to say that the company share price usually fall to the financing price, and taking that discount as well. But the fact that your stock jumped up so much, I think, is a sign that the market really, really appreciates and understands the transaction. What kind of feedback did you get from the market from your existing shareholders, for example?
I mean, we tested our existing shareholders before we even got onto this transaction to make sure that they would be supportive, because, I mean, we do have a very good project in Mexico. I think, as I said before, it's a tier one asset in the silver space, and we didn't want to do anything that watered down the value of that project. And so we got very good support from our shareholders. They're very bullish on silver, but they're also just as bullish on gold. And then on the other side, they recognize the value creating opportunity we have here. That it was the entry cost to purchase the asset and what we could do with the assets here and what you can build upon. They recognize that regardless of whether this is a gold asset, one's a silver asset, these are both we're going to create a lot of value for shareholders. Right? And
when is the transaction expected to close?
Well, we have a vote scheduled for March 27th to vote on the share issuance on the transaction, not on the transaction, and we're hoping to close it fairly quickly after that. The main things that we need to do in order to get the project to close, we need some consent from on government-wise. We don't think that should be too difficult, but it's more of a reorganization that Newmont needs to do to extract these assets.
Okay, let's change tack a little bit, Tony, and talk about Mexico. You mentioned Cordero a few times, but let's dig a little bit deeper into that. You previously guided that you expected the permitting for Cordero, you're planning an open pit mine there to be completed in late 2024 or early 2025. That hasn't happened yet. Where are you with the permitting at the moment?
Well, we submitted our permit applications in August of 2023. We've had responses, and we gave our final submissions back in March of 2024. The feedback we've got from, we went through an election in Mexico, and we recognize the feedback we got that we may be able to expect our permit in Q4 of 2024, but realistically it would be sometime in the second half, or for second quarter, of 2025. We're still progressing with that intention. We've had good feedback from the regulators in Mexico in terms of what the project can deliver. We've done a lot of things in de-risking the project from surface rights and access and community social support from the communities. From water, we've accessed and we've secured all the water we need for the project. Power. We completed our feasibility study. We demonstrated we tried to tick all the boxes off in terms of what the regulators be looking for from a project of this nature, that what it can bring to Mexico, the positive impact, and minimize the negative impacts this would have. So I think we moved the project forward. Right now, what we hear is we're waiting for final approval at the federal level.
To what extent, you're doing a transaction at the moment, you're waiting for the permits to build a very big open pit silver mine, what is it, 30 million ounces of silver equivalent, I believe, per year of production. Obviously, while you've been waiting in the permitting, your share price has been ebbing. So was that a factor in doing the acquisition to get some production in, get some cash in, and then that gives you perhaps more breathing space for the permitting of Cordero?
Well, definitely. Part of what we're trying to do to help us finance Cordero and help us move that forward and de-risk the company as we're going forward. We have been looking at other opportunities. This is one opportunity I can say we've been looking at for a number of years, or I've been looking at for a number of years, and trying to find the right opportunity to be able to be successful with it. It came along at the right time. We think that there's always felt that there was a lot of similarities, a lot of synergies that Cordero could bring in terms of what we might use to not only to help us acquiring the Porcupine assets, but even the Porcupine assets then in terms of what they can do to help finance and build Cordero and build a new precious metals Canadian gold company.
Now, when I speak to sort of CEOs, one of the questions I ask is, are investors becoming interested in the space again? And one of the answers is often that M&A is one of those things that helps generate or spark new interest. You're undertaking a bid transaction at the moment. Are you seeing investors become more interested in Discovery Silver?
Oh yes, I mean we have a lot of good meetings at the BMO conference, a lot of meetings with a lot of investors, generalists, other people from the space. I think definitely though we're seeing a lot of investor interest, and not just at the major institutions, but also even at the retail level. And I think part of that is driven by recognizing the valuation of our entry-level valuation for the Porcupine assets, what we're paying for, what the entry-level cost is going to be, how we finance the project, and the support we got from Franco-Nevada and Newmont and our shareholders in terms of getting to this point. Then recognizing, so you see a company that's coming out of the gate very strong, definitely a solid production and operation base in a good region in Canada, with people that know how to execute and the opportunity to take advantage of a lot of new value creation there, and it only bodes well for what people can do to in terms of how the shareholders can prosper from this, and all the stakeholders. So definitely we're getting investor interest into here based on what we did. Definitely, we think there's a lot of value creation. And I mean, the one thing I guess I should never undermine or make sure we don't take credit for, we're in the right gold market and the right silver market, right?
Well, timing is everything, isn't it?
Yeah, timing's everything.
Let's end with some forward-looking statements, if I may, Tony. What do you think will be the sort of key trends in the gold-silver space this year, and what are some of the key milestones for Discovery Silver?
Well, I mean, I think you've seen where definitely the gold price. There's definitely appreciation in gold price, and that's creating a lot of opportunity in the gold space. I think there's still a lot of junior companies, a lot of junior explorers that haven't really gotten the valuation that they should have seen. I think there's still a lot of producers that haven't seen the valuation. So I think there's valuation upside that you should see in the industry. There is, there's always cost pressures, etc. But I mean, I think the industry is somewhat focused on that and where it can go. And so if I tie that into what we try to do in building the new Discovery, we're trying to position ourselves. We're price takers in our industry. We're not price makers. We're going to try to position ourselves as being, a low cost producer. Try to be in the bottom half of the cost curve. Try to be able to weather the storm and be profitable. Be a value creating proposition. Whether the price of gold is $3,000 an ounce going to $4,000 an ounce, or whether the price of gold is $2,000 an ounce, etc. So, and similarly for silver, we're looking at building these two projects. We're looking at trying to stay in the bottom half of the cost curve, and looking at making sure that we're generating free cash flow and profitability that demonstrates value for shareholders. Right?
Well, congratulations on a transformational transaction. Tony Makuch, thank you very much for joining us today and sharing all of that detail with us.
Okay, thanks.
And we have a lot more to come from the 2025 BMO Global Metals, Mining and Critical Minerals Conference here in Hollywood in Florida. So hit that subscribe button. I'm Paul Harris and this is Kitco Mining.
Kitco Mining special coverage of BMO's Global Metals, Mining and Critical Minerals is brought to you by First Majestic Silver.